In this video, I'm going to be doing a full demo and walkthrough of Quickmail, which is one of the first, if not the first, cold email sending tool that introduced inbox rotation. It was kind of this new age wave of cold email sending tools and has been around for quite a while. So I'm going to walk through, show you how you can use their platform, do a demo, walkthrough, and tutorial to show you how you can connect inboxes, set up cold email campaigns, and launch your campaigns so you can run automated campaigns that will ultimately book you meetings, get you sales calls, and generate you more revenue. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. All right, so diving into Quickmail's website, if you go to quickmail.com, you can find their website. You can see their main dashboard here. They have all their bells and whistles. You can see the solutions pricing, all the stuff we're going to get into. But first, we're going to talk about logging in. So if you want to log in, you simply press login in the top right. And when you log in, you're going to be met with a dashboard like this. So you can see here, they have a nice clean UI. The way they structure their dashboard when you log in is you essentially have workspaces or clients. So you can see a lot of this stuff is built in mind with agencies. So they basically have dedicated workspaces, which are like dedicated little units where you can manage client campaigns, have leads, accounts, and all the different type of stuff here in this section. So if you jump in, you're going to immediately see clients. You can press plus client, and that's where you can add another workspace or client or whatever you want to call it so that you can have that unit there. If you press view, you can jump in. You can see all the campaign, analytics, team billing, and all that kind of stuff on like a account level. But then whenever you want to mess with the campaign specific to a client, add leads, and all the other stuff, you're going to do it within here. So if you want to access this, we're just going to dive in. You're just going to press view here, and then you're going to be straight in. So now that you're in here, you can see this calculator section. This is like the main dashboard. You can see all the stuff here on the left hand side. You have your dashboard, your calculator, all your stuff here. This is like a main dashboard where you can add stuff, customize stuff. I just leave it kind of blank, but if you want to add all these different bells and whistles, you can press customize and do that all here. And then on the left hand side here, I'm going to go through these one by one. Your list, this is where you can see all the different leads that you have inside of your workspace. So you can see all the different touch points, all the different attributes, variables you have mapped them everywhere in between. If you click in, you can see all the different settings here. Pretty self-explanatory. If you want to add leads, you can do that up top. Then on the left-hand side here, this is where you can create campaigns. I'll circle back on the campaign section here in a second. Email channels. So if you click into channels, you have both email and LinkedIn. So you can run your LinkedIn outreach through here as well. Very useful if you want to do that through one platform and do a multi-touch type of thing. If you want to connect your email accounts, you just simply press email in the top right here. One thing that's really useful that Quickmail has, we'll actually get two things that are really useful. First is this I have credentials and don't have credentials. So again, a lot of stuff with agencies in mind. Let's say you want to connect an account to your Quickmail account, but you don't have access to your credentials because you're trying to send it to a client. You can go over here and press I don't have credentials and send someone a link where that they can go ahead and log in on your behalf. Then you can connect to the account without having to log in on their end. Very useful feature there, especially if you're an agency. But assuming you do have credentials, or assuming you press the I don't have credentials button and click the link, this is what you're going to see. So you can see Google, Microsoft, other. If you're using an IMAP or an SMTP server, you connect through here. One thing that again is very useful that Quickmail has that I have not seen really many other platforms have that have warm up at least is a native Google integration. So what this means is that you can just press continue here and log directly into your Google account and connect it through Quickmail. Now you might be wondering, hey, what else would I be doing? How would that be any different than any other platform? But most other sending platforms, you actually have to add a special code in. You basically have to take 3 or 4 more steps to add another code in because they do not have a native Google integration, which is a whole separate topic in and of itself. But this makes it a lot more convenient, and Quickmail has it through their platform, which means adding Google accounts can be a lot easier. So if you want to mess with your settings, you can bulk change the settings, or you can manually click in and check out the different settings. A lot of these are pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to go through these one by one, but I will go through something that I think is useful. So you can see over here at the top, you can see smart sending groups. So what a sending group essentially is, and a feature that Quickmail has that again, I have not seen any other tool have, is the ability to dynamically rotate accounts in and out depending on their performance. So let's say, for example, you have 20 email accounts and you have 10 inside of a campaign and 10 sitting on the sideline warming up. By the way, if you don't know what warm up is, it's basically a feature that allows you to improve your account's reputation with time. So you have half your accounts in campaigns and half your accounts out of campaigns in warm up. You can dynamically insert the accounts outside of the campaign into the campaign depending on the scores. So if you're running a campaign, your 10 email accounts, some of their scores start to go down, meaning your deliverability is probably going down too. You can have them rotate out and rotate in with an account that has been sitting on the sidelines. And while that account is rotated out, you can have it pause from the campaign so that it can recover. So basically allows you to use the deliverability scores that Quickmail is seeing and their sister company Mailflow is seeing to make sure you get better deliverability. So you can set your thresholds here. So you can say, hey, if it goes below a 40 score, it will rotate it out and rotate it in with an account that's on a sideline. Very useful. And you can let let it recover for a set period of time. All kinds of other settings here. As I mentioned too, Quickmail, as part of their platform, you get a subscription to Mailflow, which is their sister company, where you can actually add your accounts to warm up. So this is where you can build a reputation and where a lot of the scores get pulled from. It's a separate platform. It's mailflow.io. And whenever you sign up to Quickmail, you'll get free access to that there as well. So you can have your accounts connected to warm up and it dynamically syncs between each other. So those are the different email account settings that we're going to go through. Then we're going to jump in here to LinkedIn. I don't have any LinkedIn accounts connected because I'm not currently running LinkedIn outreach, but you can do that through Quickmail too, which is very useful if you're trying to run a multi-step kind of like omni-channel almost type of campaign. So if you want to add your LinkedIn account, you can press this in the top right. You can select the country that you want to connect your account to. And then they have a tutorial here on how you can actually set up your cookies so that Quickmail can have access to. And then if you want to run this in a campaign as a multi-step sequence where, hey, maybe you send them an email and then you send them a connection request and then you send them a message and then another email, this is where you can connect your LinkedIn account here and plug it into your campaign. Now, moving on here, we're going to go to communication and then we're going to circle back here and show you how you can create a campaign. Your inbox, this is where you can see all the different replies from your campaigns. So I just started a campaign here, so you can see there's not very many replies, but if you want to check out all your replies here, you can see that here. You can click in, respond to it, and keep track of all your replies in one place. Very useful. They also have AI that can categorize what category they're in, which is again, very useful. You have an outbox section here where you can see all the outgoing emails. This is useful if you want a 50,000 foot glance of all your campaigns. If you're running higher scale stuff, probably not as useful since there's probably a ton of stuff going on in here, but it can be useful if you want to see, hey, I want to see the specific leads I'm reaching out to, the specific touch points, the dates I reached out to them, basically everywhere in between. You can take a look at here. And one thing that also Quickmail has in mind, and I think this is more useful too, is if you want to do manual outreach through their platform, because they have a lot of features kind of built in mind there too, where if you want to have your account plugged in and you want to be very, very tailored with your outreach by manually doing all the different steps, you can take a look at that there as well. Your analytics, this is where you can see all the different analytics. This is one thing that I really like about Quickmail is how robust their analytics section is. This is probably the best analytics section I've seen out of any platform I've personally used. You can see all these different tiles. You can switch between what data you want included here. You can see your data by sending provider, your data by percentage or absolute, the types of data you want. So maybe you care more about your open rate, your click rate, your reply rate. You can see all that data here, your attribution type, your sending provider, your recipient provider. You can see all kinds of stuff here, which is really useful because I know personally in my agency, I like to calculate things different ways depending on what type of data I'm trying to get out. So for example, basically every other sending platform attributes their numbers by lead instead of email, which can skew your data in a different way if you're trying to capture a certain type of data. So let's say, for example, you send 10,000 emails and it's all to one lead, then you get one type of result. Or if you send another 10,000 emails, so you send 20,000 emails total to that same lead, so you send 2 emails each, your data is going to be completely different depending on how you attribute it in your dashboards, which most other platforms don't let you see. This is a lot of nerdy stuff, but again, this is really useful, especially if you're running an agency or you're trying to get super granular with your data. You can see your metrics by cohort. So again, you can filter this by the data type you want, and you can see it by week. You can see it by all the different types of specific metrics that we have here. You can add tiles. So if you want to, have a dashboard here on your positive reply rate by week, and then you want another dashboard by your positive reply rate by a certain date range, you can do that here as well. You can add a bunch of tiles. You can do a bunch of stuff here. The platform's super snappy. It's very useful, and I really like the analytics section here. And then you can see all your general settings on the bottom left, your billing, your integrations, all kinds of stuff here, your team, and basically everything in between. If you want to include your team members, so you can assign certain campaigns and certain tasks, you get a ton of features in there as well. But again, I'm going to try and focus on the high level stuff, the stuff that you probably care about the most. So we're going to dive in and actually build a campaign so you can get up and running using their platform. If you want to build a campaign, very simple and straightforward. You go to the campaign section, you press plus campaign, and then you can name the campaign. We're going to call this test campaign. And then you can see who wants to see it. So you can say everyone or only me. We're going to press add here. And then you can set up the steps here. So you can have send an email, connect on LinkedIn, LinkedIn message. Again, this is where the multi-step sequencing comes in. So for example, you connect with them on LinkedIn first, then you send them an email, then you send them a message. You can do all kinds of steps here, but for the sake of this video, let's just do the email step. You can do set up your subject line. You can even add preview text in here, which I personally wouldn't use, but if you wanted and had a use case, you wanted different preview text than what you typically send, you can set that up here. And then this is where you can write the body of your email and basically everything you want to use. So we can have test subject line, and then you can set a preview section here if you'd like. And then this is where you can insert specific variables. So if you want someone's first name, so you can say hi first name, comma, and then you can insert body of your email. I'm not going to write a whole email copy here just to keep this simple. So you can put your intro, your opener, you can have your signature here. You have a readability score as well if you want to calculate to see basically how clunky your email looks. I personally like to keep my emails super short to make sure that people open them and read them. And basically there's all the other settings you can imagine here. If you want to format the text in any way, if you want to include any variables, if you want to include your unsubscribe, if you want to include a certain day or time range, so you could say, hey, call out the day of the week it is, call it a different day of the week. They have all kinds of formulas and stuff here. You can have your unsubscribe stuff, you can have your signature, you can have company stuff, custom properties, all kinds of stuff here in between, all the different variables you can imagine where you can merge in. If you want to do that, then you can insert all those steps here. If you want to add another step, so you can add another step here, you can put your wait time, and then this is where you can add another step where you can say, hey, send them a message on LinkedIn, send them either a connection or a message himself. You can have your spaces and your wait times, and it's pretty self-explanatory through here. So you can send another email, have your follow-up email, have all the different variables, have a new subject line, or have it threaded if you'd like, and build out all your steps here. Leads, this is where you can add all the leads that you want. You can do this in the list section here over on the left-hand side. Add the leads, then assign them to the campaign so you can have it set up there. Your channels, so you can assign the email accounts and the LinkedIn accounts that you want to use for this campaign. And then automation, this is where you can set the triggers, where you can say, hey, I want these emails to start going out at 8 p.m. my time, or probably 8 a.m. more likely on business days. And you can set up the triggers and the times and basically everything else there. If you want to set up your campaign settings, you can see that over here in the top right. You can set up your settings about what you want the name to be, who you want to see it. If you want to allow the same leads to already run this campaign, maybe they exist in another campaign, you can set that up here. All the different settings, again, very self-explanatory if you just read them there. You can also enable email verification and have your emails get dynamically verified through their platform, which is useful. And then you can also set up sub campaigns. So sub campaigns, also called subsequences in other platforms, is where you can set up follow-up campaigns depending on how people respond. So all the bells and whistles that you could possibly need here, along with the other campaign settings here as well. And then if you want to launch the campaigns, all you have to do is assign the leads. And then whenever you have it all assigned, you can go over here and launch the campaign. You can also test the campaign. So if you want to see what the email look like in your own inbox, you can do this here as well. So very simple to set up a campaign, very self-explanatory. You can see all the different features and settings up top here. And if you want to disable any other settings, again, the features are pretty self-explanatory and has everything that you need. And so if you want just the settings, you can press the button here in the top right so that you can enable, disable, and do everything that you need simply through their platform. Also, another feature here that I'll go through before we wrap up the campaign section here is spin tag. So if you want to spin out different words, which is very useful for deliverability. So let's say, for example, you want to say hi and hey. All you have to do is have two parentheses open. Then you have a line here and you can put hey, and then I can put two parentheses to close. So now in our emails, we're dynamically rotating hi and hey through the emails so that in our email sequences, some of them say a hi, some of them say hey, which again helps you land in the inbox better. So Quickmail has a ton of different features on the deliverability front, on the agency front, where you can segment everything out, where you can rotate your inboxes, not only doing inbox rotation the traditional way where you're sending emails from one account and another account and doing that in perpetuity. You can also have it set based on the dynamic triggers, which is very useful and I don't see any other platform doing, along with all the other features you could possibly need, like spin tags, like sequencing, like all the different automations. And then you have one central place where you can respond to the email. So once you launch the campaign and your campaigns go live, you can check out your inbox. You can have your teammates in here where you can assign them, or they can just come in here and reply to all the emails automatically. Now, jumping into the global inbox here, this is what it looks like whenever you're having a conversation, and you can take a look at the leads themselves here. You can reply directly through their platform. You can add notes, you can add statuses, you can snooze the leads, you can add any sort of tag so you can keep track of them, which again is very useful if you want to keep track of where the leads are in the stage, how you want to respond to them, and how you want to take the next action. If I want to reply to them, very simply, I could do that here, where I could say, hey name, super excited to chat, whatever, and then you can send via email, or if you're using LinkedIn, you can respond via LinkedIn here as well. All right, so now let's talk about Quickmail's pricing. So if you want to check out Quickmail's pricing, you can go over to their pricing page at the top here. So these are the main three plans they have. They have the basic plan, pro plan, expert plan. These are based and build off of emails sent monthly and active prospects. You are allowed to have 5 email accounts for the first plan, 20 accounts for the second plan, 50 for the third plan. But they also do have an agency pricing model. So you can see here, if you go to the top here for lead gen agencies, you can see they have a separate dashboard view and kind of demo or sales process if you're an agency. I believe you are able to get unlimited mailboxes, or again, unlimited plan if you do the agency plan. So it's billed slightly differently and probably a lot more advantageous if you are a lead gen agency and you're doing this for yourself or for on behalf of the client. So I would check this out. If you're a lead gen agency, you can press speak with us. They have a bunch of stuff where it's agency dashboards, custom stuff for you and your clients. So if you want to check out for the agency stuff, the pricing is different. I'd hop on a call with their team and see what they can give you, because it's probably a lot better than what you get on the initial pricing page here. But this is the basic stuff that they advertise at the front, and you can see all the different things associated with it. One last thing I'll also cover is Quickmail's integrations and their APIs. I didn't get access to their API help doc here, but you can see they have a ton of native integrations directly through their platform. So if you want to check out the integrations, you can check out quickmail.com/integrations. You can see all the native stuff they have here, all the different scheduling, personalization, monitoring. You can use Zapier, and I think they have API help docs elsewhere too. All right, so that wraps up this video. If you want to sign up to Quickmail, press one of the links in the description below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in one of my next videos. See ya.